Here are 5 simple ways to sync the ERM Multiclock. Oh, and one last thing, I'm gonna give you guys one last tip, just in case, right? So the first one that we're gonna look into is gonna be syncing it with sound. The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna click and download this sample provided by ERM. We're gonna put it in here into our DAW of choice. The other thing that we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be setting it out to our output on our sound card. So for this exercise, I am going to be using the Cranbourne audio, and this is not UAD or anything like that. This is Cranbourne. This is a 500 series audio interface. So that one's gonna have the output coming from the 4th channel, and that one's gonna go in directly to the multiclock. The other thing that we need to do is we have to set it up. We're gonna go to menu, source. We want audio. I'm gonna show you with this method. My project is at 120. Multiclock is also at 120. I'm gonna change it up, 124. As you guys can see, it's also at 124. You could also probably use it in a sequencers that use audio, which is pretty cool. Step 2 is going to be using their MIDI clip. This one's pretty cool because you can use any tone generator. If I played this over here, right, with the MIDI that they provide, it's going to generate a tone that's going to go directly to the ERM Multiclock. The same idea. I haven't changed anything regarding like the audio settings. The audio is going to be coming out of my output 4. Let me hit play on this. As you guys can see, project is at 120. ERM Multiclock is also at 120. Let me bump this up a little bit. 136 BPM. Now we're going to go to this one, which is using the Multiclock plugin that they provide. You just have to make sure that the time signature is the same one as the one that you're using on the Multiclock. Time signature in the project is A. Time signature in the project is A. So that's the way you're supposed to set it up. Now let me hit play and you guys are gonna see. Let's throw in 124. That one's actually sounding directly into the stereo output because I had it like that. So now I'm gonna go over here, mono number 4 audio output, and now it's not sounding. And as you guys can see, we're in the ERM Multiclock. It's pretty cool. Let's bump it up to 132. As you guys could see, it gave me an error, so I had to stop it and start it again. What I would suggest is maybe trying using a tone generator with their MIDI clip that they provide, or with the sound files that they also provide as well. The other way is gonna be using USB. This one's really interesting. In Logic, maybe it's the same for in your DAW, but over here in Logic, what you wanna make sure that happens, right, is make sure that you have your MIDI syncs. So I have the ERM Multiclock as the port. You can move delays up and down depending on your system. I will get into delays in another video, but for this example, this is it. Then you're gonna have inputs and everything. So the cool thing and interesting thing about this is that I can use the ERM Multiclock, all the different MIDI outputs that you guys see here. I can also use them to like send MIDI notes to any synth or DAW. So right now I am going to add an external MIDI, and I'm gonna be using my sub 37. This one's gonna be coming out of port 4, and I have it on channel 10, and the input for this one is going to be 5, I believe. Let me see, let me hit a couple of notes here. Yeah, so I need to set it up as stereo out. So I'm actually hitting notes here on my MIDI keyboard. This is sending MIDI to the ERM Multiclock, and then that one's sending it to the synth. Okay, so I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use the new function here in Logic, which is pretty cool, where you can record the MIDI into the MIDI track by using any arpeggiator. I'm gonna set it up to random, variation, octaves, inversions, do some random notes, note length, velocity, and then we're gonna go to crescendo, and then I am going to record it in. So now this is going to be sent directly. Everything should be quantized. So I'm able to record all that in using MIDI notes, which is pretty awesome. So one thing that I forgot to mention is that once you're here and everything is set up in Logic, you're gonna have to go here to the Multiclock, source, USB MIDI. So you're gonna click that. And now, once I hit play, it's gonna be at 125. This would make it sound in sync with my machines, you can move things around. So just in case, right, you have a machine that is not working with you guys, you can move the knobs just to make sure that everything is in sync or with the amount of swing that you want with the buttons right here. So you guys know that's what those buttons are there for, to make sure that everything is to where it sounds good to you guys. The last one that I'm going to touch on, but I'm not going to get really into it, is MIDI, right? So this would be by connecting, let's say I have a MIDI keyboard and I want to like make this the sequencer. Then at that point you will connect it to the MIDI output. Output's going to come in to the MIDI in, like you see it here, and then you're going to be able to just route things and make sure that everything is sounding good and tight. One of the cool things about this clock is that you can use up to like 5 different connections, and which one works for you is amazing. And then you have like 4 different outputs for like different synths and like all this other stuff. So that's kind of like the idea right behind this clock. I've had it for almost like 5 years and I love it. I think that's probably one of like the best things that I bought. If you have one that you like better, that works, you know, in the way that you want it to, please let me know. Maybe send me a video or something so I can like check it out as well. Oh, and one last thing, I'm gonna give you guys one last tip, just in case, right, you get lost. If you go into the manual, right, let's go into the multiclock MIDI sync, right, configuration, analog system setup, track sync. So this is where it gets like a little bit tricky. 24 notes per beat and all this other great stuff that they have here. Like I got lost with it to be honest. So what I did, so if I wanted to use the same like tempo that they provided with the MIDI track, the one thing that I did is I chopped up the audio file so it hits like on the same measure that they have it here, because I know that that's correct and it gives me like the best option. That being said, you guys, I'm going to have this template as a download so you guys can check it out. All right guys, hopefully this was helpful. Peace.